The next topic is how to save energy in buildings using Proptech. With someone called Tommy, he has worked with building automation for 12 years. With experience as a technician, he's been department manager and has sales experience. The road for Tommy went on to facility management with a focus on technical management, especially on energy efficient buildings. And after that, he specialized in Proptech and sensor technology. And in 2020, he helped over 100 buildings getting smarter for a low cost. His goal in 2022 is to reach 1,000 buildings. So here is Tommy.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. Hello. Wow. I have to say to Stefan, thank you so much for the introduction of demand control, because that's also what we're going to talk about today. And we already have, I think, almost 100 of those VAVs installed in a building in Bergen, the city of innovation. So if anybody wants to travel with me, I'm leaving tomorrow at 13, so you can all see. So today I really want to talk about energy efficiency and how we can actually do it practical. And again, thank you so much for all of the numbers, because they really are backing the story I want to do. So I'm dropping the why we have to do this and just going to the how. And I think the best way to go to the how is to also be, we are not doing pilots, we are doing rollouts. And I think pilots is the worst word I know at the moment, because everybody wants to do one pilot building. And what we have been doing so far is we are not reaching 1,000 yet, but we are getting there, and we have it in our backlog. We're not sure we can manage to do it, but we have great partners helping us to reach that goal. So that's what we really want to try to do, and we have two ways of trying to reduce energy in buildings. The one way is with insight. Having insight is the lowest cost to the building. That's the easiest way to do it. Get the sensors out there, get data, manually adjust it. So that's going to be my first part of how we save energy. The second part is also how can we control, like Stefan said, how can we actually do that in practice? And how can we do it in great large scales? And how can we do it on small rooms, but also in great buildings? So I'm going to try to show you how we are doing it today. And I also have great customers with me on that journey to show how we are doing it. So the first point of how we save energy, we are having a tool belt of different tools. And the different tools, for me, is the best of Proptech. So, Stefan, you're not longer a dinosaur. You're one of the Proptech tools, I have to say. So the first step for us is, if we want to save energy, we need to know how much energy we are using. That's the first step. I think we are very lucky in the Nordic countries, because we do have smart energy meters in every building, and with one small sensor, we can get the data out in seconds. And we also get the data, not hourly, we're getting it second by second. We're getting the heart rhythm of the building every second. We are seeing when it's turning on, when it's turning off, and we are seeing everything with one sensor. This is where we start. And this building is not a random building, because what you also see here is you're seeing the spikes there, right? That's in 10 seconds, the building energy is doubling, going off and on, off and on, off and on. This is a sick building. This is something that is completely wrong, and it was just a mis-engineered with a 0 dot instead of 10.0. We are seeing this in 1 of 10 buildings. So this is where we start, and already here we pick a lot of energy crisis. We see a lot of results just going here. The second part, and it's been mentioned today, energy, one of the biggest resources for energy is ventilation, heating, and cooling. So we need to monitor those. Even if we're just going to have insight, we need to know when it's starting, we need to know when it's stopping. Is it energy efficient, and is it controlled when people are in the building? And again, this picture is not random. As you can see here, this building is starting up 3:59 every morning, but nobody is in the building before 7 o'clock. So it was just that the controller didn't know it was summertime, and it thought it was in, I don't know, UK or somewhere else. Small adjustment to save energy. And the second, and maybe most important part, this is where indoor air quality comes in. Not only to monitor that it's healthy, not only to monitor that we are in a safe space, but to actually see when are people in this building. And I really, really loved Mikael's presentation today with the heat map. This will change how we will do it. This will change how users can do it themselves. But to actually see when people are in the building, we see the heartbeat of the building going up and down, and we see when the biggest energy consumption are starting and stopping. That's the magical formula to save energy. So what we have been doing so far is that we have been doing this with hundreds of buildings, and one of our greatest customers is actually here today, Endre. Find him, hunt him down. He's there. And they have been saving 26% energy in a broad portfolio by step one, just collecting data, doing small nudges to the buildings. 26% energy in 1 year. And I think that's one of the most amazing numbers. And that's already buildings that are pretty healthy, pretty green, and it's the greatest building out there. But this is how they're using energy data, indoor quality data, and system data to actually adjust the buildings. And we also have some extreme statement, and this is actually the statement that we have as a goal in energy control. This is our North Star metrics. When a user, when an operator, when a janitor of the building is getting a new building and say, this is your building, you need to maintain this. And when that person is saying, how do you expect me to do that when I don't have the heart rhythm? I don't know when the ventilation system is going on and off, and I don't have the heat map of when people are here. Do you expect me to drive a car without the speedometer, without the brakes, and actually do a good job? That's our North Star. And that's what drives us to always build the best product. And we do have extreme cases where this is the Norwegian Statens Vegvesen. I really don't know how to say that in English, but it's a Norwegian government company that is responsible for all the roads, and they have 120 buildings. We started the same journey with them just 6 to 8 months ago, and already, before winter is coming, we have saved more than 40% building in 2 of the buildings they have, just by collecting indoor air quality, energy, and ventilation data, and adjusting manually. So there isn't any magical formula. There isn't any smart rules. There is just setting the data in context and have the people with the tool belt, as I said, that is really working there to use the data in a good way. So that's step one. I promised myself 4 years ago I would never control buildings again. After doing that for BMS, there was always somebody calling when the first day of sun was coming. It's too hot. There was always somebody calling when it was cold, it's too cold. So I promised to never do that again, but I really believe by doing it the right way, to doing it the scale-up way, to doing it with the best of the Proptech companies out there, there is the only way to do it. So why are we now doing it? Why am I breaking my one rule? So if you look at this, and this is Andres' LinkedIn. I really like when he's writing in LinkedIn. You see it's 3 months ago. That's the latest post as well. But this is a post that really got me. I was on a summer holiday in Spain, and I saw this, and I was like, this is how we did it. Because the last week before summer holiday, we started to control one of his buildings. And here you can see the curve, which is already reduced a lot, but you see it's kind of static. And in that building, there are people in and out all the time. So we went down there, 9 o'clock, installed all of the sensors, set it to control, and we activated control here. And you see it dropped 70% of the total energy consumption because we were alone at that office at the moment. 6 minutes later, the first customer was coming to see the solution. Of course, we did it in good time. All right, Andra? Then you see the energy is same as the maximum again because we want to use energy when people are there. We just want to save it when nobody is there. Again, they left. The new group came in. Again, we went up again, and so on the third meeting. This is why we need to control. That's the last mile to get it. We need to adjust the building according to when people are there. How to do this is quite simple. All of the sensors are going up to the cloud is sending it back to a dinosaur box that is talking to all protocols in the buildings. Those protocols are not API, they are not MQTT, it's Modbus and BACnet. We are converting it to the old standard of doing it. But we are trying to do that in a very scalable way. We actually have that big of confidence that we actually invited one of the biggest newspapers in Norway to join us in installation. And as you can see, Petter here is he's very confident in the solution. And he's also here back at the booth, I think. And we actually managed, this is a building in Norway for concerts, band practice, it's a culture place. And this was almost running 24/7 because the people that was maintaining this building was working 7 to 3, and the people using it was using it at nighttime. So when we don't know, we overuse. So we were actually reducing it by 70%. It's not going to be that high when they use it more, because that's the end goal, right? We need to use the building more. But 70%, and we did it in 2 hours together with reporters. That's how easy it is. So it's been a fun journey, and we already are, today we are doing 3 more buildings, not when we are here, but in Bergen at the moment with 3 new buildings, and we are trying to do this as fast as we possibly can. And the next question we had when we were saying we need to control, we want to control, we have to control, was, do they even need to run at all? Do the ventilation system even need to run? Do we even need to heat it when there is nobody there? And I think that's a very important question. We have some basic laws we need to think about. We have some rules about how we need to operate the building. But if we have data, and it's very important for me to say, then we need to have data everywhere people are to do these things. But when we have that, and when we are actually installing a proper installation, we can do this. So why do we need to turn it on and off? Well, if you see at the first graph, and this was very good confirmed today by Krem, you see on Fridays, there is nobody in, I think out of 30 buildings we were looking in, I think almost 17 or 18 of them had not any people in the space on a Friday. We are lower, we are on 4 to 500, 480 ppm or something. We are not turning the system on that day. So that's the saving energy part of it. But when we are controlling them, we also encourage to use it more, because I think that's the end goal. I don't think we just need to save energy. We need to save energy when we're not using it, but I want the building to be used 24/7. I think that's the best case we can do it. Then we don't have to build all of the new spaces. So if you look at this place, this is a calendar-based building where the calendar is controlling the HVAC. And nobody told the janitor that there was going to be a big party. So you see, when there were people in that space, the CO2 was very high. It was high all over the weekend. And by controlling it, we could also enable better indoor air quality at that moment. So that's the reason we also need to turn it on and off. This is just a few things that we are trying to do as simple as possible, as autonomous as possible. But that's one of the cool features of doing it. And it's just like Stefan said, it's plug and play. One of the big things that I didn't think about was that we have so many days where people are not using the space. And it's very logical to think about it, but like summer holiday in Norway, there is 4 weeks where the kindergarten is closed, the schools are for 8 weeks, but it's closed down. But if you ask somebody, are you going to work this summer? There will always be somebody saying yes. So we never turn down the buildings in the summertime. When I was engineering buildings, I never did this. But we activated this on our lab in the summer. But everybody said that, yeah, we're going to be here in the summer holiday. But the truth was that only 8 out of 21 days there was people in the space. So just there, we saved the ROI for 50% of the installation just in the summer months. That's also why we need to control, why we need to delete the schedule. Big boxes is something completely new for me this year. So we also try to do big boxes. This is a big box called Biltema. The translation is something with a car, but they are not selling cars. So it's not the right marketing name for it, but that's a different story. But what's very funny with these kind of buildings is that they are actually engineered for Black Friday every day. When we don't know, we need to maintain that this space can have 1,000 people. When we are not controlling it, there will be a fixed amount of air for 1,000 people. That's the cheapest way to build a building. That's how we did it when the power price was extremely low. This is a lot of buildings out there. In this big box, we have been running it for a few weeks now. The highest amount of air that we needed was that the ventilation system went to 30%. 99% of the time, it's going to the lowest amount we can have to have enough air floating around. The lowest amount. So big boxes is a very big space for this, for sure. So if we look at energy per square meters, we are seeing that in retails, in offices, this is going very, very good. We are seeing that we can do big reduction of energy. And one building type that I've been afraid to do for a long time, and maybe you see it's the winner, it's maybe not the best winner to have, but it's energy per square meter for hotel, it's almost double as the next one. And it's logical because we are, of course, using it more. It's a comfort place to be. There are people there almost 24/7. And this was a dangerous thing because they are not like an office from 7 to 3. How can you actually save energy in a hotel? But I got a phone call, and we said, okay, it's challenge accepted, and we really wanted to try a hotel. So the first hotel we have started with for 3 weeks ago is a very famous Norwegian hotel called Sundvolden Hotel. And better to me to present this, I need help. I need 2 people up on the stage. I need Tord, who is the owner of this hotel, and Martin McLean, who is now not the product, but the marketing chief. Now, chief market, is it? Yeah. So give them a warm hand. Can we see it?
So this is something new for Tommy as well. And sometimes, Tommy, I think you also need to sit down.
Yeah.
So let's grab these chairs, guys, and we bring it a little bit forward. And we... Sorry, Sentralen. I sit in the middle. Oh, okay.
Ja.
Lillebjørn i midten.
Ja.
Dritten i midten.
I give this to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, I get it back.
Nice to you.
It's great to be up here. And we're starting a journey into hotels.
Yes.
And I think you could not have found a better hotel to start this journey, Tommy.
No.
Sundvolden, I'm from Drammen, which is very close to Sundvolden. And I think a lot of people have a relationship with this hotel. I've been to conferences there. I've been to a training course. My father's 60th birthday was in the very charismatic Gamlestuvo in Sundvolden Hotel. Does anyone, so the Norwegians here, are you familiar with Sundvolden? Do you have some kind of relationship with it? Have you been to the hotel? Raise your hands, yeah?
A lot.
And understandably, because it's been around for hundreds of years. Tord, can you, for those of our foreign guests, give us a sense of Sundvolden Hotel and the importance that it has for you?
Well, Sundvolden Hotel is, do everybody hear me? Yeah. Is one of the oldest hotels in Norway. It's first time mentioned in 1648. And that was an inn on the road between Bergen and Oslo. And so we still have the old buildings. And we also added a conference center in 2017 at 1,100 square meters. So we have 22 ventilation systems. We have 55,000 guests a year. We are 120 people working there every day. So it's a quite complex building. Half of revenue comes from F&B, half from conference and rooms. So we are what we call a full-service hotel. Not a bed and breakfast.
What's F&B?
Food and beverage.
Okay.
Drink, a bar, food, kind of stuff.
And how many hotel rooms were there again?
273 hotel rooms. So that's why we always miss some. So I miss 80 rooms. They will come.
And this conference facility, this is a complex Sundvolden. It's not just one. You see some beautiful building here in the back. This is some of the oldest parts, but this is a big complex of hotel with lots of buildings from the 17th century from the 1980s, 1990s, 2000, 2017, latest building. And the biggest conference hall, how many people can fit in there?
1,100. So I think I invested approximately 400 million since I started in 1996, took over my parents. I used to grow up on the room up to the left here. On the front there is also an apartment to the right. That's where I lived for my first 7 years.
So that's the honeymoon suite.
Yes, today it is. Used to be my living room.
So if you want to spend a night in towards childhood apartment, book the honeymoon
I recommend
suite.
it.
And don't worry, as you will see, there are Airthings sensors there as well. I think we all have an idea of a charismatic, energetic hotel owner. There's something about owning hotels that either attracts a certain kind of personality or maybe forms the personality. And those of you that haven't got the pleasure of getting to know Tord, he is no exception. So yeah, I think you all have had various characters in your mind now of hotel owners. Tord is as energetic, as curious, as full of passion as any of those hotel owners. So it's been great getting to know you and getting to learn about this thing here. There's a reason I'm in the middle, I think. Yeah. So you've been through I don't know why I went this way. I go a little bit more like this way. And Tord, you've been through one crisis. I think this is another place a lot of Norwegians and maybe actually some foreigners know. Do you recognize this place? Do you know what we're talking? No? Raising your hands? Okay. So this is very infamous as the outbreak, the global outbreak for the Omicron virus. There was a Christmas party in Oslo, and someone flew back from South Africa, and it spread like wildfire in this place. And that's why it became famous not in Norway, but also globally, because it's the first time Omicron actually started spreading. Do you know what happened the same day? And the answer is no, because you don't. The same time the Christmas party was happening at Louise, there was an even bigger party at Sundvolden Hotel, and there were 3 people. Was there 3 people?
Yeah, 4.
4 people with Omicron. How many people got infected at Sundvolden?
4 people out of 600.
Yeah. So how did you get such a dramatically different result than Louise?
Well, let's start by talking about air quality.
Oh, finally!
If I never measured the air quality at the Louise, I read the report, so I actually did it myself. So I brought my remote air quality with the app, and I went there and saw it, and I was recommended not to be there. So we have treated the air with ionization, and we do a lot of different things. This was at the end of the pandemic, so we had decided to be best in class to handle it, because that was, in order for us to survive during the crisis, we had to be the best in dealing with it. So we were pretty good at handling airborne transmission of disease. Yeah.
And it's like modulating your ventilation system and being curious and driving to, let's try what's in the market here. How can we make sure that my staff stay safe, our guests stay safe, and we can try and keep open for as long as possible. Yeah. All of these pictures here are from Norway's largest newspaper that did a full expose about it. And here we see Tord looking very curiously up at one of the contraptions that he installed to keep people safe. And then also notice there's copper.
Yeah, we use copper, not much gold, silverware and copper that takes killed virus in 4 hours instead of 74 hours. So it's steel and plastic.
So you approach this crisis with curiosity, drive, innovation. Okay, what can we do to stay safe? But there's a new crisis happening now. You got through COVID.
Yeah.
And at this stage, I think all hotel owners, and we saw the energy costs that's happening. So we need someone that can help us take control of the rising energy costs, particularly if you're a hotel owner. And I think the starting point here is like, how did you guys meet?
Well, it started this summer. I have still fixed price on electricity, so I'm not the one that's... it's 44 euro till 2025, so I'm okay. But at the same time, because I still Norway was digging cables, so I thought I'd get a 5 years contract. So I'm still covered by that. But then we have to use this room to create some strategic room for differentiation. So we this summer I engaged two engineers from AM Technique and asked them what can I do to reduce the energy cost in not like a small manner but like a severe manner. And we started to talk about it, and then they sent me the article with Tommy, and then I called Tommy. So that's how I got in touch with him.
Do you remember that phone call?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking, hotel? No way. But then we started to talk about like.
That's not the story he tells, because I think you were a little bit more, oh yeah, hotels, I'll deal with hotels.
Yeah, I had no clue about hotel. He knows a lot about office buildings, but hotels, not that much.
Yeah. I was kind of honest. And I was starting to ask questions like, okay, but is it like office where is people coming at 7 and going at 3 and say, no, it's completely different. But after talking a bit, I started to understand that it's not the variation of the day in hotel. It's the variation of the different days, different days of the week. The end of the week, the Sunday, we found out is a very special day. And also, I think the biggest point when I understand this was when you showed me this graph. And this graph was actually showing the revenue. When do we earn money? When are people here? When are really the building in fluctuation?
I think you need to go and explain this graph, because it's not self-explanatory.
So this is actually showing, Tord, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is actually showing the different days you are having revenue.
This is 365 days, one for every day. And we're just ranking from the lowest revenue day to the highest revenue day. And as you see, there is no day alike. Very few days are alike at all. Most of the days we have to the right here. I should have closed the hotel, you know.
Because the y-axis is revenue, daily revenue.
And these are days. So here we should have closed the hotel, and I'd love to be there all the time, but that's not possible. And then we have the things between. So this shows also that there is very few days we have not 2 days alike, to put it that way.
And I remember I asked you the question like, okay, so your energy graph is also correlating between this, right?
Not at all.
So I think that was the moment I thought, okay, this is a challenge we have to accept. Because it shouldn't be like that. We should see correlation. And talking to other hotels owners as well, none of the hotels are like correlating between the revenues. Kind of flat, right?
Yeah. So now, this is something I was thinking about tonight. So I talked to my wife. I said, so what's the goal? I have to tell her why I'm here today. So we want to save 1 million kilowatt. That's the goal. And I think the different approach here would be one strategy to cut the energy here. It's much easier. And then one here, and then one to the right. So we have like at least 3 strategies to cut the energy based on the daily operation we have to find.
So live from the stage, the goal is to cut 20% energy now.
Yes.
Okay, so we're talking about 1 gigawatt hour of energy in a year, and you spend around 4 or 5 gigawatts a year.
5.5.
5.5.
So it's 5.5. We still have 230 kilowatt per square meter, which is low compared to hotel. But I also did that number. We have used 100 kilowatt per guest.
Wow. Per guest night?
Yeah.
So if I check in and I spend 1 night in Sundvolden,
you
that's
get
100 kilowatt hours.
You get 100 kilowatt from me.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's how much I can use in a month. Wow. Okay.
55,000 guest
How big
nights.
is your? That's
5.5 million.
Yeah.
There's a lot to do here. So you need like Bob the Builder. You got a toolbox, Tommy. So how does an energy consultant like you come in? What can you? Do you need a new toolbox? Can you use the same one?
And I think that was the epiphany, because as I said, I didn't know about hotels, so I learned a lot from the conversation from Tord about this. And then we understand we actually need the same toolbox. It's about measuring energy, it's about measuring the technical systems, it's about measuring where people are and trying to optimize that. And this has only been 3 weeks. So we don't have the solution today, but we wanted to show how we're actually doing it. And if I know you correctly, Martin, I remember you were doing something with your phone instead of mounting sensors.
Makes it sound very dodgy when I was I do. And actually, so you talked to your wife last night. Tommy texted me very early and said, Martin, make sure there's sound. So if we play a video now, will there be sound? Yes. So the starting point with everything, improve anything, you need to monitor and you need to install some sensors. So welcome to Sundvolden Hotel.
halfway there.
Da en vanlig arbeidsdag ferdig her på Sundvolden Hotel. Klokken
0:27.
og vi gjør hverandre stolte.
Ja!
Okay. Looking at that video now, I get a little bit of a heartbeat. Just remembering how stressful it was I had to catch up with you, Tord, because you were rushing around and keeping us at pace and keeping us working till late at night. Do you normally join partners at installations like this?
No, but this was like Christmas Eve for me. This is something I had looked forward for a very, very long time. So I was so happy to see. I think we got these engineers who recommended this small package. So you brought some, and I said, bring some more in your car, some more sensors.
The plan was to do a small installation, and then Tord called me like a few hours before I was driving. Like, if you drive, just put sensors in there. And then, like in the middle of the day, I was like, "Okay, this is the plan." And he said, "Yeah, screw the plan. That's just how many do you have?"
So we finished a bit after midnight, and I think we started again quite early next morning.
You always left. We started 7 o'clock. No, I'm just kidding.
So this was essentially, you came with your toolbox, and of course there's Airthings sensors, but to get a full overview of the building, it wasn't only Airthings, of course.
No, it was the same package. So we measure energy in all of the buildings. We are measuring ventilation system with other Proptech companies like Disruptive. We're using Airthings for indoor air quality. We even did 3D scan of all of the technical room, because Tord is using people all over the world to help you to optimize this building, and we really want people to get involved in this, because that's actually how we do it. So when you're combining the reality and data, then people all of the sudden say, "Oh, okay, so that's how the hot water system is. Okay, that's how energy is going through the doors." So we did a complete package, but again,
full energy control toolbox deployed. It's been 3 weeks. Early indication, early results. How is it going?
So as you can see, Tord is not longer the owner; he's the hotel detective, because I'm getting all of these messages all day, and they say, "Okay, I found a new bug." I can actually see, and I think you need to explain it, because you actually found out that one of the ventilation system for hotel rooms is stopping at night.
Yeah, it was totally setup was totally wrong. It's turned off at night. That was running at daytime. So we've actually had some system that was running totally wrong. So we still use the energy, but we waste energy because we don't create customer satisfaction. So that's half the story here. We have to save energy, but we also have to increase customer satisfaction.
And this is actually, here you actually optimize the building to get better indoor air quality. You found problems and you solved it. And I think before there was one guy in this old system, but now everybody, like 10 people are actually looking at these data, saying to you every day that something is here.
Yeah. And I've seen Tommy's text messages, and I know Teresa has been wondering, why are you getting so many text messages from this person called Tord? And you see, this is just a small snapshot. So I think what's really beautiful and powerful here is that not only you, but all the staff in your team now have been empowered to take the pulse, to take this heartbeat of the building, and actually be curious. And also, we talked a lot about user experience and making things accessible, actually getting a sense of how are the technical systems, these 22 ventilation systems, how are they working? Are they working as they should be? Are they providing the optimal guest experience? But there's also been some energy savings already. You found something?
Yeah, for sure. And what we are seeing is that this is quite a nerdy picture, but this is actually a temperature sensor on the hot water running around in the building. And we actually had, Tord said very early on that one of my buildings is too hot. And this is a building where we can see the problem, because it should be a temperature going out, then we are using a lot of energy, and a temperature coming back should be a lot colder, because we are reflecting, we are using the energy out there. As you can see here, the delta T, which is the difference between going in and out, is very low.
I think just to be very clear, so those of you that aren't technical building nerds, what you want to have is a big delta T. If your delta T, I'm sorry, Tord, but you have a very small, you have a very small delta T here, which is bad. You don't want a small delta T.
That's kind of right. So I think that was one of the first things. And this morning, you actually said to me that you actually reduced the temperature going out with 5 degrees.
Yes.
You could actually see with your indoor air quality sensors that it reduced to the indoor temperature you wanted. 2 degrees it reduced.
80 rooms.
And you actually saved 25% energy with that measurement today. I think that requires a round of applause.
Woo!
Thank you.
We also saw, so one of them, so we launched the Space Pro, the Space CO2 with the screen last year. Do you know what the first feature request we got when we launched it was? How do I turn off the screen? Because there's not as many people that are as comfortable sharing this data. So what have you done? You've installed these in quite a few of the hotel rooms. Have you turned off the screens as well so they don't see the CO2 levels and air quality?
No, we decided that we want to show the screens. We want to be transparent, and we want to work on optimizing the building. And also in the general, I think our quality in the buildings makes us differentiate by showing the data. Show me the data.
Show me the data. And talking of showing me the data, another round of applause there, yes. Keep those screens on. I think that's keeping you accountable and also making it a lot more of an attractive space. So remember, honeymoon suite, Sundvolden Hotel, that's the place to spend the night. There's some more findings. We talked about these conference rooms that can have up to 1,000 people. When I was there, it was really exciting because there was the Friday dance. So the local village, you lent out the hall for them, and they had salsa lessons. So in these halls that sometimes could have 1,100 people, there were 45 dancers doing their Sunday dance. But I think that kind of adaptation to demand is not necessarily something we saw in the data.
Now I understand where you were that day. That's a different thing. No, so what we are seeing in those kind of rooms as well is that I think it's been mentioned today that we actually have too good of air quality. And I think Joachim said it very good. We need to balance energy and indoor air quality. And that's, of course, one of the first things we have to do here, because we are seeing so much. We're actually using too much energy to keep it that way.
What is this screenshot from?
So this screenshot is showing the CO2 in the different conference rooms. And we are seeing that the CO2 level almost never goes above 593. And this is because this is this is gigantical. And of course, there isn't like 1,000 people every day. The variation of people is that big. So to actually have this demand control, which is reducing the airflow, I think that's one of the biggest things that we can do there. And we can actually also control it maybe better to actually have it started when people are there. But because today is a schedule in that is running. And when we were there, I remember you were saying, why is it on? Why is it on now? So that's of course, there is a lot of things that we really want to do here. And then I think the journey has just begun.
Yeah. It's 3 weeks. The journey started. Already some good findings. We need to make his delta T bigger. Yeah. What are the next steps?
I think already Stefan has been presenting some sexy VIVs, something like that. But to reduce the airflow and have this building running without a schedule, I think that's a challenge that we have to do.
Yep. Stefan, have you ever been to Sundvolden Hotel? No. There's a first for everything. Okay, we'll make that happen. Another thing, and I'm trying to do a very casual segue here now. Another thing that I was surprised at, we talked about Tord being an energetic, forward-leaning, curious person. It brought you through 2 crises. Another thing I noticed when we were going through all of these corridors in the middle of the night in Sundvolden Hotel was that on every floor, in every corridor, there were robots. They were these self-cleaning robots that make it much easier for your staff to keep the corridors clean. Okay, I just realized we might jinx this because this is another video. But can we just play this one? No sound. This one shouldn't have no sound. All right, press again.
Ooh.
Gjør sånn, ja. Så testet han støvsugeren først. Så han har noe å jobbe med. En veldig da mindre jobb egentlig på meg etterpå.
Yeah, so we're the first hotel in the world actually.
When did you get your robot at home?
Last year.
Wow. I have never met anyone that managed to beat Tommy when it comes to adapting.
Well, I had a Roborock in 2014. I didn't have my dog.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 1-1.
Okay, so you're at least you're on par. So you're like the Tommy level of adapting property technology.
That's good for me.
I'm proud. That's good. That's kudos. Someone else that has a robot, and you already alluded to it, is Tommy.
I think, and the most important part is that you also showed us the new robot that you are hoping to get under the tree, because that's a company from the US, industrial robot, is doing all of this much quicker, and that's also something that you already ordered.
Yeah, because I tried to contact iRobot to get him improved because it's mainly used for home use, but and it's not that good for industrial use. So we ended up being part of a company called Tylos that produce industrial hotel robots out of Austin, and they are now starting to distribute them.
So I think so. You've invested and been the first user, and also given valuable user feedback to this new robot cleaning company in the US, in Austin, Texas, that will actually bring these ones up to the next level. Because I think we realized that the Roborocks are maybe not, they're helpful, but they're not adapted to a hotel environment.
Exactly.
That's an exciting next step.
We have a surprise for Tord, because maybe we have a robot that he can use till Christmas.
I think that's so. Tommy, for those of you that know Tommy, he's also got. I think we need to start cleaning the stage here. You can go and get ready. There is in Bergen. There's something called Proptech Bergen. Bergen is a small village on the west coast of Norway. If you haven't been there, that's okay. But there's a laboratory there called Proptech Bergen, and that's really a building, a very non-remarkable building, but that's the purpose. To test out the latest within property technology, find out what works and what doesn't work. And one of the tests and one of the experiments is to see, okay, what space do robots have within our buildings? Can it help us improve how we operate and manage our buildings? I think we know we're in front of a crisis when it comes to having enough staff to take care of our elderly within our elderly homes. But also, do we have enough hands to take care of our buildings in the same way we're doing it today? And maybe there are some robots that could make us more efficient. Tord talked about the cleaning robot for making sure the hotel stays clean and safe. And you've got Lassie with you.
Yes, and we already started to see how can Lassie help Tord. So we started to see some. Is this actually? Did you see Tord when he was under the bed scraping for dust? That's one of the moves that we have tried to make happen today. So this is Lassie. And Lassie is just one of the robots kind that can actually be of help in buildings. I think it's very important for me to say that this is the version 1.0. So the goal, the music video of Lassie is that he's on a building construction place, checking everything. But what they don't know is that it's raining in Bergen and he can't handle rain. But we need to start, right? We need to start to make innovation happen. So today I just wanted to show you, Tord, what we can do with Lassie. Cool. I don't think he can really clean yet, but we have some moves that I wanted to show. And before we start, I need to go into sports mode. So that's one of you see now, it's going to happen. He's going to go into crazy mode. And there, this is activated. Oh, ooh. That's the stuff. So the first thing, Tord, was that you had something in the roof. You had of different things. You need to have cameras everywhere. And Lassie has camera here and a leader, so we can actually scan it. So the first challenge was that I wanted to see how can he actually look into the roof and look for his battery done in the smoke detector, so it's lighting. And we found a move. Now he's checking everything. He's doing something else, but at least he can see it. And then we looked into how could he actually maybe use his feet better to check for dust. So I found a new move. This is kind of a dance move, I think. But you see, yeah, checking out, yeah.
Did he take the salsa lesson at Sundvolden at Friday night?
And he could be the salsa instructor as well, right? That's.
Oh.
Got the moves.
Not all code is good. That's a lesson. But this is actually open source code. So this is code that we can download from anywhere. So if you look at this dog, it's just a PC. There's a lot of in and outputs for sensors maybe. And you see lidar camera, you see 3D camera. It actually reads number, it reads everything. So it's kind of the same technology that you're going to have in your robot, right? But it's also clean. So this is something we need to test. And as you can see, it's pretty quick. Everything is adjusting. He's been running around, falling a lot. And actually, we did a move yesterday that went completely wrong. I have to try it again. So Tord also has he has 4 different kinds of buildings, right? So it's height problems, that's one of the problem with Lassie. So to cope with the height problem, we had to download a very complex code. So I hope, okay, nobody on the first row, that's good. Very complex code, but we were thinking like, how can he actually reach into the attic? Because you need to jump up there, right? To get up to the attic. So we found a code for that as well. Are you guys ready? So if it doesn't work, just, okay, then we will try, okay? 1, 2, 3.
Whoa!
He lost his face, but that's just plastic, so he doesn't need that anymore.
No. That was his face.
That's his face. That's the face mask from yesterday. So that's Lassie, and this is what we see that robots already can do. There's a long road to go. There's a lot of things to do, but already they can go completely autonomous. It can actually follow objects. I made it follow my Roborock for a day, going around and just follow after. So we see a lot of things, and this is the kind of technology you are really in the front run of doing already back in 2014. So it will be really interesting to see what's going on in Sundvolden, and I think everybody wants to go to Sundvolden after this. So with that being said, Martin.
Yeah. With that being said, Tommy, thank you very much. Thank you, Tord. Thank you, Tommy.
Thank you, guys.
Very good.
And thank you, Martin.
Yeah.